I'm here today on September 12th, 2009 in Toronto, right here in Cabbagetown, which is one of Toronto's most beautiful and historic neighborhoods. Just locked up my bike up there. Hope it's still there when I come back. And there is a festival here today, the Cabbagetown Festival. Cabbagetown Arts and Crafts Sale, Riverdale Farm Fall Fair, I just see here. And wow, this place is really busy. It's got lots of different types of merchants, designers, jewelry designers, painters, craftspeople, all sorts of interesting stuff that's on sale here. And I just want to take a nice little stroll through here. See what we've got here. Here is a nice plaque. Cabbagetown is recognized as the largest continuous area of preserved Victorian housing in North America and is much admired as a unique heritage destination for tourists, educators, students, and the merely curious. Throughout its history, Cabbagetown has been home to an amazing and diverse group of Canadian personalities, actively in the arts, sciences, in politics, sports, business, architecture, and social movements. Lots of important movements. Early settlers between 1851 and 1881. First people were actually the Ojibwe tribe, Iroquois tribes, Hurons, Eries. You can see this is a map of Cabbagetown. Interesting thing about Cabbagetown is when it was originally founded, it was mostly poor Irish immigrants that came here after the great Irish potato famine of the mid-1800s. And the reason why it was named Cabbagetown is because people were so poor they were actually growing cabbage on their front porches or front yards. So it was originally a poor neighborhood, but today it's been gentrified, has been being gentrified probably for the last 20-30 years, and it's become one of the most desirable neighborhoods in Toronto. It's a beautiful neighborhood, great large old trees, beautiful gardens, nice Victorian homes, and extreme proximity to the downtown core, so it's got a great location with streetcar connections here on Gerrard Street and then over on Sherbourne Avenue and what's the next one over? At any rate, lots of interesting merchandise here for sale, interesting pictures, two people practicing something in the back here. Let's see, some sort of fighting sport.
You can join. You can study
wooden stick and a round wooden shield.
Yeah, and they practice in the park.
Looks like some sort of an Asian tradition here. Nice pictures, paintings, nice art, very nice stuff. Yeah, you can see, I mean, Toronto is one of those places that's so vibrant. What I notice when I travel around, even in North America, there are certain things that people take for granted living here in Toronto, and that is lively neighborhoods. Toronto is simply a city of neighborhoods, whether it's Greektown, Little India, or the India Bazaar in the East End, Leslieville, the beaches, the eastern beaches, or various neighborhoods. On the west side of Toronto, there's so many distinct neighborhoods that are really vibrant with merchants, little small independent merchants, as opposed to big box stores, fruit markets, vegetable stands, little cafes, outdoor bistros. So it's become a city that's actually very, very livable. I have guests in town regularly, almost every year now. For the last few years I've had guests over from Europe. And whenever I have guests here, it's really interesting because I show them different spots in Toronto and they end up falling in love with the city. For example, I had a friend of mine here, school friend. We used to go to school together. I mean, it's more than 20 years ago now that we graduated. But she traveled over here with her sister, brother-in-law, her son, teenage son, and her teenage nephew. See, this is Riverdale Farm here. Nice little petting zoo, and it's still an operational farm. And I took them out on a couple of days. One day I just took them out using the TTC, the public transport system of Toronto, took them on the subway, took them on the streetcar and showed them Hyde Park and Bloor West Village and Chinatown, Kensington Market, those areas. And a couple of days later, I took a day off work and I took them on a bicycle ride from the East End, Toronto, Danforth, Broadview, Gerrard Avenue, coming through here, then going to the Distillery District, which is one of the favorite destinations of many locals and travelers, downtown around the CN Tower, checking out the view onto the playing fields at the Renaissance Hotel. I think it's called Renaissance Hotel at the Rogers Centre, which is Toronto's former Sky Dome multi-purpose stadium. And then we stopped off at the Roundhouse, which is a former CNR or CPR roundhouse, which used to be a facility where they used to repair trains. I think it was built in 1929 and is one of the few historic roundhouses left in Canada. And the east side of the roundhouse now holds the Steam Whistle Brewery, a popular microbrewery in Toronto. And the western part of the roundhouse has just been renovated, and I think it's is it a Leon's or a Brick furniture store now? I think it's a Leon's. But it has been very, very nicely renovated, and the historic character of the CNR Roundhouse has been perfectly preserved. Interesting art here. And from there on, we headed down to Harbourfront. I showed them Ireland Park and Harbourfront, of course, with all the different cafes and the international market. And we cycled back into the East End via the beaches, Cherry Beach, Ashbridges Bay. And they had a phenomenal time. People just simply truly enjoyed the day, and my friend actually ended up saying she's going to send her daughter over here from Europe next year to go to one of Toronto's language schools and study English. So it's kind of strange. Everybody that comes over here starts to really love and appreciate the city, and why not? It's a great city. It's got a good mix of the old and the new. Somewhat reminiscent of a little mini version of New York City, while at the same time also having a distinct European flavor in many of the local neighborhoods. So that's why I like to get out on the weekends and sort of check out what Toronto has to offer.